And Trump is deploying U.S. warships to waters near Venezuela in what he's calling an effort to combat Latin American cartels, officials say. The deployment is also heating up existing tension against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, whose reelection is widely regarded as illegitimate. The DOJ has now doubled a reward for his arrest after the Trump administration accused him of narco-trafficking and working with cartels. Trump has been in favor of using the U.S. military to take down Latin American cartels, which he blames for the entry of illegal drugs into the country. And the Wall Street Journal reports that the Navy destroyers have been given authority to interdict drug shipments, which strays from their usual role as support for the Coast Guard. Earlier this year, Trump designated several criminal groups in countries like Venezuela, El Salvador, and Mexico as terrorist organizations, and leaders like Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum have expressed their rejection of military intervention by the U.S. Sheinbaum has said that while she agrees that fighting cartels is important, the U.S. should do so in their territory as Mexico would in theirs. In other words, she's defended the sovereignty of Mexico, which many other countries have strived to hold on to since the end of the Monroe Doctrine, through which the U.S. justified previous interventions in Latin America, including backing a coup to overthrow the democratically elected Guatemalan president in 1954. Dr. Jesse Acevedo, assistant professor of political science at the University of Denver, says that desire for independence and sovereignty, as well as the consequences of U.S. interventionism in years past, are part of the reason why he expects a widespread rejection to Trump's orders.
The only way I would think of people supporting U.S. intervention is if they perceive their governments to be too inept in battling drug cartels. But for the most part, I would expect huge opposition to this, given that it could make things worse. Even if they don't like their own government, the idea of a foreign invasion is not appealing. We've seen from history in Latin America, whether it's the U.S. intervening or Latin American governments really going hard at the drug cartels, it actually leads to more violence and more instability, because what it does is that it starts to fragment criminal groups. With all this well said, it doesn't address the big selling point of this thing, which is reducing drugs entering the U.S. As long as there's demand, drugs are going to come in. And we've seen time and time and again, when major cartel bosses get arrested or when cartels go down, there's always something or someone ready to fill in that void because the demand in the U.S. is just there.